wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, we're going to begin the program. We're going to start the program off with a short video highlighting one of the developmental disorders that is prevalent in the community. And inshallah, after that, we'll have our panel discussion. So please enjoy the video that inshallah will educate you a little bit about Down syndrome. Jazakumullah khair.
Hi, my name's Rachel. I love my friend Savannah.
I'm Savannah. I love my friend Rachel.
Hi, my name is Sam. My friend Bobby is cool.
Hi, I'm Bobby, and my friend Sam is the best.
Hi, my name's Alyssa. I like to hang out with my best friend Rutland.
Hi, I'm Brooke, and Alyssa is more than just a friend in my class. She's my best friend.
When you meet someone who's a little different from you, you might be scared or uncomfortable.
That's okay.
Because anything new is a little scary at first.
But once you learn more about it, you get used to it.
Because there you have knowledge.
And knowledge helps you understand.
And understanding makes it easier to accept.
All of us is different.
No one is exactly the same.
We all have our talents,
Characteristics.
Strengths.
And challenges.
I have Down syndrome.
I have Down syndrome.
I have Down syndrome.
I have extra chromosome.
Sam's cells divided in such a way that he ended up with an additional chromosome.
A chromosome is a thread-like structure within each cell. Most people have 23 pairs of chromosomes for a total of 46. But a person born with Down syndrome has an extra chromosome.
Alyssa has a third copy of chromosome 21. She has 47 chromosomes.
I have 46 chromosomes and Rachel has 47.
We are something extra.
Having an additional third chromosome 21 is what causes Down syndrome.
It's called Down syndrome.
But I am not called Down syndrome. Down syndrome is not all that I am.
Down syndrome is not who Alyssa is. She's just Alyssa. She's a person.
Down syndrome is named after Dr. John Langdon Down, who first identified the syndrome in 1866.
Down syndrome is not Rachel's name or who she is. So please don't call her Down syndrome kid or Down's kid.
Because Sam is not a Down's kid. He's just a kid that happens to have Down syndrome.
I'm a kid with Down syndrome.
Down syndrome is not a birth defect.
It's not a disease.
It's not contagious. It's not like a cold. You can't catch it.
And you can't get over it or cure it.
Down syndrome is just something I was born with.
It's something I live with. I will have it my whole life.
It's just one part of who I am.
Just one part of a beautiful self.
Who we are depends on our chromosomes. They are the building blocks of our bodies.
Chromosomes determine everything about people, from hair color to whether they are girls or boys.
Our chromosomes determine our hair color, eye color.
They determine how strong our muscles are and how well our memory works.
For example, my chromosomes give me blonde hair.
My chromosomes give me blonde hair too.
My chromosome gave me brown hair. And my awesome 3-point shot.
Just like our chromosomes give us our hair color, kids with Down syndrome may have similar physical traits.
I've noticed that some kids with Down syndrome have similar shaped eyes.
And noses.
It's just a part of Down syndrome.
But everyone with Down syndrome is their own unique person, with their own personality and traits.
There is a biography.
I'm my own person.
I'm my own awesome self.
When you have an extra chromosome, like Sam does, it may cause you to have muscle hypotonia or low muscle tone.
It makes it harder to move, react, stand up straight, and talk.
It's like trying to write with socks on your hands.
Sometimes I need some more time to put my books in my backpack or to zip up my coat. But I'm working hard to do the same things you do every day.
Kids with Down syndrome sometimes leave class to be with a therapist so that they can do the things that we do.
And they can do almost everything any other kid can do, including sports.
Sam took on one of our varsity players in a 3-point contest and won.
And Alyssa is awesome at cheerleading.
Low muscle tone doesn't just affect the muscles in your body, it also affects the ones in your mouth.
It's harder for Sam to control the muscles in his mouth.
Sometimes it's hard. Understand me, I talk.
It would be like saying something you really want to say with a mouthful of marshmallows. It's just harder to get out.
Kids with Down syndrome do speech therapy to help them talk better.
Because I have important things to say.
It will help read can talk well. I love acting and singing musicals. I've been a written praise so far.
Some kids with Down syndrome have a hard time remembering things.
Down syndrome may make it harder to remember things that just happened or things that people just said.
It makes it harder to think of things and focus for long periods of time.
Sometimes I have trouble remembering.
Sometimes I forget things.
Even though remembering things is hard sometimes, kids with Down syndrome still go to school and learn just like you. But they may need extra time or help.
Sometimes kids with Down syndrome may need to leave the classroom to learn more about things that you're learning.
My parent is Miss Beck. She's my teacher helper. She's great.
Sometimes kids with Down syndrome need small breaks to give them time to get back on track if they get distracted.
I go for short walks during school so I can get my mind back on running.
It may seem like kids with Down syndrome are getting special treatment, but they aren't. They're just getting extra practice to help them learn.
And with that help, they can do great in school.
I love school and I'm in honor roll.
I am a sophomore in high school. I am taking math and I am taking world geography.
I am taking Spanish this year. Hola, ¿cómo estás? Muy bien. I will graduate from high school this year.
Down syndrome may also make a difference in the way kids' eyes, ears, nose, and throat work. It may also affect how tall they grow.
Kids in Down syndrome may some popular web scene.
That's why the type on Rachel's worksheets is sometimes bigger than mine.
Kids with Down syndrome might have trouble hearing.
Sometimes Sam doesn't do the things teachers ask him to do because he can't hear them.
Sometimes I have a hard time hearing.
And some kids have hearing aids to help them hear.
Some kids get tired easier and have trouble sleeping, which can make them groggy at school.
Some kids with Down syndrome have problems with their hearts.
It may make it harder for them to keep up on the playground or play sports. Some kids may even have to get surgery on their hearts.
With all these physical challenges, Sam has a lot to deal with.
But we all have stuff we have to deal with in our lives, and kids with Down syndrome are no different.
It's just part of what makes me who I am.
It's part of what makes me beautiful self.
Once you learn what Down syndrome is, you get used to it. Because when you have the knowledge,
And you understand.
It's easy to accept. Being friends with Rachel is awesome.
I love hanging out with Sam.
Alyssa's the best friend anyone could ever have. She doesn't care about what clothes you're wearing or how your hair looks. She sees you for you, who you are on the inside.
When Rachel leaves, wherever we are, no matter how many people are watching or how excited she is to go, she always says, "Goodbye, Savannah." She never forgets about me.
Sam puts everything he has into what he's doing. When I see him working so hard at basketball, it makes me appreciate being part of the team. It makes me want to work as hard as Sam works. And whenever I do well in a game, he's always there cheering the loudest for me. He's genuinely happy for me. It's really cool.
I am a good friend.
I really can't enough friends.
I have friends with Down syndrome or without Down syndrome. Anyone can be a good friend.
It's easy to be good friends with somebody with Down syndrome.
Just treat them like any other kid.
Just treat me like any other kid.
Be kind to me. Be patient with me.
Goodbye me 2 months.
Invite me to your birthday party.
Ask me about my hopes.
Ask me about your dreams.
Give me space when I need it.
Everyone needs space sometimes. If I'm ever curious or don't understand something Alyssa's doing, I just ask an adult.
And just like any other kid, if they are behaving in a way that makes you uncomfortable, ask them nicely to stop or get an adult to help.
Rachel loves to give hugs. And most of the time, I love to hug her back.
But you don't always have to hug your friends with Down syndrome. Giving them a high five or a smile works too.
I love to high five too.
And help your friend with Down syndrome if they ask for help.
But don't baby them.
Sometimes I need some help, and I ask for it.
But most of the time I can't do it myself.
And slow down.
Slow down.
Slow down.
I understand you better if you slow it down.
And please wait for me to finish. And please wait for me to finish talking.
just gave me a little time to do stuff. I am worth the wait.
All I have to do is wait 10 seconds.
10 seconds. 1, 2,
3,
4,
5,
6,
7.
8.
9.
10. That 10 seconds will allow time to open the door to a new friendship that will change your life forever. It's awesome.
And if you can't understand what your friend with Down syndrome is saying, just ask them to say it again.
And sit again.
Or you can ask them to slow down.
I can slow down what I am saying.
Or you can ask them to act out or show you what they're saying. If that still doesn't work, ask your teacher or another adult to help out.
Just like all of us, kids with Down syndrome have a range of emotions. They get happy, mad, sad, and frustrated.
Sometimes math is hard for me. I get frustrated, but I work through it.
I get frustrated with my math homework too.
Kids with Down syndrome get sad. When our friend Connor passed away, we all took it pretty hard, and so did Sam.
I miss Connor.
I get sad when people use the R word. One day, a girl in my lunchroom called her friend retarded, and it hurts my feelings. And I am sad.
I just think people don't understand what they're saying when they use the R word, or any other mean word.
They think it's funny or okay if they say it about themselves.
But no matter how you use those words, they are always insulting to whoever you are talking about.
And they are always hurtful.
So please, don't use the R word.
Or other mean words.
Everyone makes mistakes, but when you know better, you do better.
And if someone is being hurtful, it's okay to stand up for your friend with Down syndrome.
It's okay to teach that person about Down syndrome.
Maybe that person just doesn't understand or have the knowledge. Because when you have the knowledge,
When you know what Down syndrome is,
You understand.
Understand.
Understand why kids with Down syndrome seem a little bit different.
understand that we're all different in our own ways.
and when you understand, you can accept.
Except that some kids have Down syndrome.
And they're still just a kid.
Just like you.
Just like you.
That's like you.
Just like you.
Assalamu alaikum. So inshallah, I'd like to begin the program now. After that video, I'd like to invite the panelists to please come up and take a seat. And before we begin, we have a very special treat. Those of you who are here at Jummah might remember that I spoke about a young boy who's memorized a large chunk of the Quran, over half of the Quran. And alhamdulillah, I didn't know he was going to be here tonight. One of my very good friends, Jabir, is here. And so Jabir, how old are you, Jabir?
9.
So Jabir, inshallah, is going to recite from what he has been memorizing for us today. So go ahead, Jabir.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألم يأتهم نبأ الذين من قبلهم قوم نوح وعاد وثمود وقوم إبراهيم وأصحاب مدين والمؤتفكات أتتهم رسلهم بالبينات فما كان الله ليظلمهم ولكن كانوا أنفسهم يظلمون والمؤمنون والمؤمنات بعضهم أولياء بعض يأمرون بالمعروف وينهون عن المنكر ويقيمون الصلاة ويؤتون الزكاة ويطيعوا الله ورسوله أولئك سيرحمهم الله إن الله عزيز حكيم وعد الله المؤمنين والمؤمنات جنات تجري من تحتها الأنهار خالدين فيها ومساكن طيبة في جنات عدن ورضوان من الله أكبر ذلك الفوز العظيم.
Takbir. 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 And so Jabir, he also has Braille Quran, right, Jabir? Also, he has his Braille materials that he's happy to share with you. I believe it on this table. So if later you'd like to see it, then please let him show you how he reads.
And uses.
Yes, how he reads and uses his Braille. Inshallah, go ahead, you can see. Jazakallah khair.
Tech.
He's very high tech, he said, mashallah. So I'd like to just make a quick comment before we begin with the panel, and that is that one of my reflections on this topic has been that we live in a society that is extremely segregated. Segregation is very common in all aspects of life. In America, we segregate rich and poor, often black and white, and we do the same with our children oftentimes. We have the able children go to one school, sometimes we have children who are disabled to go to another school, and I think that there's a ramification towards living lives that are segregated. And I think that what happens is when we, and in this community, we can see that. If you're living in a very wealthy community, and wealthy children are never exposed to those who are in poverty, it has an effect on their development. It does not allow them to have gratitude for that which they have. It doesn't allow them to have empathy and sympathy. And I think that not exposing our children in our community to members of our community with special needs and disabilities also does us a disservice. Not just to those who have a disability, but to us who are the community members who are being robbed of that ability to develop empathy and compassion. So inshallah, the way that I think is the most beneficial is to begin by having a conversation. So some of the families have graciously volunteered to speak a little bit about their children, and then a chance for each of you to ask questions about their children and their lives and how you can best support them in allowing their children to thrive. So inshallah, we'd like to go ahead and begin. And so each family will speak for 3 minutes, and after they're done, we'll have 20 minutes to speak as a community, and then we'll wrap it up inshallah by 9 o'clock. Jazakallah khair wa salamu alaikum.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Jazakallah khair everyone for coming. Really appreciate it. I want to tell you a little bit about my daughter Hannah. She's 17. She has a diagnosis of Angelman syndrome, which is a deletion or a missing piece of a portion of one of her chromosomes. And that small little missing piece, subhanAllah, causes her to have seizures. She has a feeding tube. She doesn't speak. We think she has the mental capabilities of a 1-year-old, but because she has no expressive language, which means we don't expect for her to ever write or learn how to sign, we can't really tell really how much mental capabilities she has. But mashallah, she's a very happy little girl, and she's a real blessing to us. I also have a 11-year-old daughter with autism, and also to mashallah, very high functioning, and it's completely unrelated, subhanallah, to Angelman syndrome. But autism is a growing epidemic in Orange County, subhanallah. Jazakallah khairan, I'll pass it on.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي وصلى الله على محمد وأصحابه وأزواجه وآله الطيبين الطاهرين. Assalamu alaikum, my brothers and sisters. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, that tonight we gathered here for a good cause, to know each other more, to know more about our issues, problems, and to create, inshallah, the direction of the support and networking for families with the special needs in this great place of the ICOI. My name is Sister Mujda Akbari, and I have a son, Hanif. He's 19 years old, as he's challenged with Down syndrome. As you watch the clip, so they were very clear facts about the Down syndrome, and the cause of the Down syndrome was shared with those wonderful young people who were friends of those kids challenged with Down syndrome. So personally for myself and my husband, which unfortunately is not here, he's out of town, it was a not, to be honest with you, easy experience when we found out that Hanif has been diagnosed with the extra chromosome and that Down syndrome. And the most challenging part was not having enough knowledge, the lack of enough information. Even the city, when I was living that time, we didn't have a support group for Down syndrome. So basically, you didn't know what to do and what to expect. And little by little, I learned about special education and these type of concepts. But definitely, as the researcher, they have found out and about the the cycle, the stages we go through after a loss. Usually parents with the special education, they go through the same cycle, stages. And inshallah, I'll talk about that, more later. So alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, again, that we are here and we have to actually, this is my perception, to break the taboo. It's okay. It's okay to have a child who cannot see. It's okay to have a child who cannot talk. It's okay to have a child who's 30 years old, but he's acting, behaving like 5 years old. It's okay to have a child who cannot walk. Because when you sit down with Quran Kareem, the Kalamullah, you say, nothing is wrong with this. The Quran Kareem, I recite the Quran Kareem, I try to understand it. But when you go out there and you see those criteria promoted by Hollywood, being beautiful, being smart, being rich, being young, then that comparison actually will maybe create some issues and problems. But inshallah, as the panel goes on, we can talk about that more. Alhamdulillah.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ahmed, and this is my friend Hanif, as Hanif just mentioned. I would like to tell you guys that Hanif, he's just like all of us. He's actually really funny. He's one of my best friends. We always hang out together like most of the time. I met him here actually at the youth group at ICOI. On the weekends, we try to go out as much as we can, but I'm usually busy or he is. But whenever we get the chance, alhamdulillah, we do. He likes to skateboard. His favorite color is green. That's the color of his skateboard. I usually ride my bike sometimes and he skates next to me. He's really funny and he's really sweet. And I would just like to let you guys know that you shouldn't treat him as the other or someone like different from us, because he's just like all of us. He's a normal human being. And yeah, that's it pretty much. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum, my name is Safa. That is my brother over there. His name is Ahmad Faye. He has a disease named muscular dystrophy. It progressively weakens your muscles. So today we wanted to talk about, we wanted to acknowledge how difficult it is for the disabled to be a part of the mosque and to just maneuver in different locations, because it's very hard for them since they're not able to do what we are able to do by although it may be hard, their condition should not restrain them from practicing Islam. I mean, there's been many experiences we've had where he's had to stay outside of a door outside of a store and he's had to wait 10 or 20 minutes just for someone to open the door for him. He's called out for people, and there has been times where people just pass by him and they don't even acknowledge him. They just act like he's not there when he's asking for help. So we just wanted to make it easier for them, not just for him, just for everyone who's disabled, by having someone, an individual that can accommodate them, by helping them and guiding them where to go. And for example, in the mosque, there could be any volunteers that could help them, tell them. There could be small things as if taking off your shoes before coming inside and praying. It helps them a lot. And there's 2 years ago, I had a brother. His name was Samir Nabisada. He passed away from the same condition, and I'm sorry. Okay. He really wanted to always come and pray, but it was very difficult for him and his condition. So we just wanted to. We wanted to fulfill his dreams we wanted to fulfill his dreams and make it easier for other people who have the same condition as him, and just make it easier for them so they could feel normal and feel like they're able to practice Islam without any problems. And thank you so much. Sorry.
Assalamu alaikum. She already made it difficult on everybody to speak. So I have an autistic daughter who is lower functioning, and she knows about Islam, but of course, like every other disability, it's difficult to be in the community being different. She is different. So I will allow our teacher, who is a higher functioning autistic individual, but she is Christian. And well, my daughter is lower functioning, autistic, and she is Muslim. So she has experience from both sides of this issue. So she will be talking for
First, is there anyone actually using my signing? Is there anyone that really needs the sign language? No? Okay. Just want to clear that up because it is very difficult to speak English and sign at the same time. Yeah. So, my name is Beth, and I guess I will read. So, autism is a neurological condition that affects social, emotional, and language development of the individual, as well as their sensory perception. What this means is that people with autism have difficulty understanding the world around them. Sounds are too loud, speech is too soft, lights too bright. The world is covered in a constantly moving static. The people around them knowing and following rules that are impossible for them to figure out. The popular myth that people with autism have no feelings is far from the truth. We might feel differently about things than other people do, but we feel them very strongly. I am autistic. Although I am higher functioning than many, I still struggle, especially in new environments, such as this one. I am an advocate and a tutor, and it is from working with a young adult with autism in your community that I came to be invited to this event tonight. Regarding access for people with disabilities in religious communities, I can speak from my own experience in the Christian communities that I've been involved in. The Lancaster Baptist Church in LA has a separate Bible study and worship service in the morning for the deaf, in addition to interpreted Sunday evening service and midweek Wednesday service. The deaf are able to better understand the Bible and the service because they have access in sign language. And I've witnessed that firsthand. And I can also understand the lessons in sign language as well as English. So. In the Mormon Church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, as they like to be called, they have manuals that help their leaders and Sunday school teachers to know how to best help members with disabilities, both the children and the adults.
And the able-bodied children sometimes volunteer to complete tasks or help with tasks on behalf of a fellow child who has special needs. Many Christian organizations make editions of the Bible available in Braille and in audio for the blind. Some organizations have also put in video in American Sign Language for the deaf, the Bible. In LA, there's an apartment complex for the deaf-blind. These are people who are both deaf and blind. If you've heard of Helen Keller, that's a very similar condition these people live with. It's run by a church, and they help the residents go to the doctor. And every Sunday, they have to find a person. For each person who's deaf-blind, they need one person who knows how to sign. So if they have 10 deaf-blind people, they need 10 people that can sign the service. They sit with each deaf-blind person and have them understand the service. As autism becomes better understood, many Sunday school programs are making adaptations or starting special needs classes to address the need. There are many programs and services that are being done in the community, and while nothing is perfect, every step we take to include people with impairments will help them learn about their religion and the community and help to lessen the sense of burden that many of these families feel. Now, while I myself do not feel that my disability is a burden, it is part of who I am. Unfortunately, in many communities, it's considered a burden, not just this community, but many other communities as well, and I've witnessed that firsthand as well. I believe strongly that no matter what your religion, you should have access to it, and disability should not stop that access. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ida Sadakian. I don't have a child of my own or a sibling with special needs, but I have dedicated my entire life to serving those with special needs. I am a behavioral therapist. I am in the field of applied behavior analysis. I am working on becoming a board-certified behavior analyst. And to me, working with the children with special needs, or adults even, has opened my eyes so much more than I feel like anything else could have. I could have done anything else with my life, but I decided to go this way, alhamdulillah. And I know that it's my everyday, it's 5 days a week, all day, but the majority of us are not surrounded by those with disabilities and with special needs, and that can be a little bit overwhelming for someone if they have never met anyone with a special need or a disability. They don't know how to communicate with them. And that's why I'm here. I'm here to raise awareness. I consider myself a disability advocate to the biggest extent, and I'm here to help the families with those that have siblings, that have children of their own, that have special needs. Because I believe that they're a gift from God. When I look at my patients that I work with, nothing makes me happier than seeing them gain skills that they didn't have 6 months ago. And seeing them gain the confidence, seeing them become more confident, become happier with who they are, learn new words, zip up their jacket, all these little things that we take for granted every single day are things that these children, and sometimes adults too, still struggle with. So I'm just here to raise awareness, share my experiences working in ABA, and hopefully encourage others to not necessarily work in the field if that's not what you want to do, but at least spend more time with those with special needs, and because it really will change your life, and it's a true blessing from Allah. Thank you.
Hi, so my name is Dina, and I thought that Beth really had a very comprehensive definition of what autism is. I just wanted to add that there is no cure to autism, and I believe that those who are searching for a cure are misunderstanding autism, and those who care will accept them for how they are. So I am also in ABA therapy. I'm a behavior interventionist, and I have a brother who is on the autism spectrum. So let me tell you a little bit about my brother. He was diagnosed with autism at a very young age. He, as a child, was very quiet, engaged in some aggressive behaviors with others, which I believe were related to not being able to communicate his needs properly. He had very specific interests and rigid in routines. My brother was also bullied in school, which affected the whole family. We really felt it with him when he would describe his experiences. Now, my brother is in college, which we're very happy for him. He's a very intelligent person. He's very clever, funny, shy and reserved. He has difficulty doing things for him, such as when it comes to school and life skills. He has the knowledge, but oftentimes lacks the motivation. He is extremely honest, and we are blessed with his honesty. However, at times he can be too honest. He's quite frank, and my family loves him very much, and it can be difficult when we think about his future. We're very worried for him and his well-being due to lack of social and communication skills and how that affects him now and in the future. From when I've talked with him recently, I've noticed that it's very difficult for him to accept help through services in school, and I believe that it's related to internalizing stigma of mental illness and disabilities. However, without these services, I believe that it hinders a lot of folks that they wouldn't get the services and help that they need. And my brother being on the autism spectrum is actually one of the biggest reasons that I'm in the mental health field. I am a behavior interventionist, I mentioned, and I'm currently in a master's program to get my degree in counseling and clinical mental health. So, thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Ambreen, and that's my brother over there, Hamza. We were your typical average Desi Muslim family until Hamza came into our lives and turned it upside down. And that upside down became our normal. He was the first boy after 3 girls, and he was a really cute, chubby baby. But after a while, as he grew, we noticed that he wasn't hitting his milestones like a baby should. He wasn't as active and he wasn't very talkative. So my parents took him for testing, and even now, 15 years later, it's still very inconclusive as to what he has. He has a lot of behaviors that are very close to kids on the autism spectrum, but some doctors said it was something called Dandy-Walker syndrome. Another doctor said he has a mild form of cerebral palsy. This is all related to neurological damage to the brain. Eventually, we moved out here and he started services. He had speech therapy, occupational therapy, and physical therapy. He had after-school services at home. Life with Hamza was not without its challenges, but I think now we try to focus on the good. But one example was that he had multiple surgeries, and one of them he had a cast up to both of his knees, and recovery for that for anybody would be hard, but this was, much more. In your typical family, if a sibling takes your things, it's a fight to the death. But with Hamza, you had to really learn to just let things go. My room was across the hall from Hamza's, and if you come home and something's flipped upside down or broken, it took a while, but you have to really learn that material things just don't matter, and you have to focus on the person in front of you more. So as a family, as well, we had to really relearn parenting strategies and how to show love, because all the typical cultural, traditional stuff just didn't work on him. Another thing about my family is that if each of us has a career path or is in a field where we want to help people or take care of people. I was also doing behavioral applied analysis, and I was working with kids with autism for the past year and their families. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if Hamza wasn't in my life, because it takes a lot of patience. And in Islam, we're taught that kids like Hamza aren't going to be tested in this world or in the next. And they're going to go to Jannah, inshallah. So kind of in a selfish way, he's our biggest test and our biggest blessing and our biggest life lesson. We learned so many good things, patience, unconditional love and forgiveness, responsibility, resiliency, empathy, and understanding other people's families and their struggles too. It all sounds like good stuff, but you really had to get through the hard stuff to get to where you are today. But to us, to my family, he's just Hamza. He's he's just, my little brother. Annoying, stubborn, funny, goofy, affectionate. He loves cars and his iPad, and he can ride his bike for hours. And he loves going to the beach and his pink stuffed puppy. And my day isn't complete if I don't have a 4 p.m. FaceTime call from him. He's the glue that kept my family together, and even though we took our separate life paths, eventually he's what will always bring us back to each other. Thank you.
Everybody hears my voice, right? Thank you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Dear brothers and sisters, I am privileged to be here tonight among all of you and share my experience. My name is Homoyun, and my last name is Azizi. I came from a beautiful country called Afghanistan. I came here some 35 years ago, 40 years ago, and Allah has given me a blessing to have a child. Her name is Maryam, and she has been blessed with a difficulty, what they call it, Down syndrome. The way I see it is very different than most people see it, and I would like to share my personal understanding and my personal view when it comes to these things with all of you. And every one of you has a big responsibility tonight, because we all believe that one day we will return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for every single things we have done and every single things we have said, we will be responsible on the day of Qiyamah. So therefore Allah has given us a tawfiq to come here tonight and talk about this beautiful subject. Even though people in the world call it disabled children, but I look at the other way. It's not disabled, they are able children. These children can do something that the average children cannot do something. Right at this very moment, I can challenge every one of these sisters and brothers who are related to somebody who has supposedly some kind of illness. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will send us a blessing tonight and say, I'm going to make your brother or your son or your daughter well like everybody else. But you don't know that tomorrow this child will get involved in drug, will get involved in some kind of a gang, will get involved in some kind of an evil activity, that you will be ashamed in front of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the entire universe on the day of Yawm al-Qiyamah. Would you want that child to be ill according to you today, or you want it to be supposedly normal? Exactly. Thank you. What I have been blessed with, that Allah is giving me when I get married with 4 children, but my last child, Maryam, was having difficulty with Down syndrome. But every day of my life that Allah has given me the ability to take care of this child, it was challenging, but this challenging, there was a blessing in it. I have learned so much that every moment of my life was filled with blessing. If I go to office, if I go to work, if I have any kind of social activities, Maryam next to me brings me nothing but blessing. Because I look at it as a positive. I don't look at it as a negative. I share with you the word of Quran Kareem. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, if you come up with some difficulty, say, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. We came from Allah and we return back to Allah, whether we own $1 million or we don't own anything. Whether we have hundreds of healthy children or we don't have hundreds of healthy children. We will return back to Allah, but the lucky parents are those who goes back the other side with hand full of blessing. And these children bring nothing into our family but blessing. I share with you a very beautiful story that I've learned when I was growing young. This story was related by Muhammad Ghazali Qaddasallahu Sirrul Aziz. This is a story of Janab Hazrat Hassan Basri. The story is that one time Hassan Basri rahmatullah alayhi was going on a journey for some business, and he stopped by in the middle of this village, sat down on the tree, opened his bag, tried to eat his lunch, do his prayers, and continue on his journey. While he is sitting in there and he's watching, he sees on the right there's a group of children. They're so happy playing with each other, laughing, joking, jumping, and doing everything. And then on the other side, there's a child sitting, unable to move, not able to talk, nobody around him. And he is just looking at those kids. He is enjoying just watching them, not participating, but watching them. So he, as a man of Allah, as a man of holiness, he was very disturbed by that. So he started crying. He packed up, he went and knocked on the door. Some woman opened the door. He says, "Mother, is this your child?" He said, "Yeah, this is my stepson." He says, "Mother, this child needs caring, he needs a food, he needs a water, he needs a bathroom. Please, can you look after him?" So she said something, he left and he gone. On the way coming back, when he returned back home, he stopped by the same village again. And he was looking around, he didn't see any of those children. So he take a little nap in there and he dreamed that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is showing him the opposite experience. That boy is now healthy and happy, playing with these other boys and running and doing everything. And Hassan Basri rahmatullah alayhi, in his dream, he's thanking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that you have shown me the beautiful part, really. But as soon as he started praying, he saw that this boy started beating those other boys. He started breaking the walls. He started jumping on the tree. He started, in a matter of one day, to go to a neighbor's home. He started fire. In a matter of half a day, the whole town was in destructions. Hassan Basri woke up from the dream and he saw, subhanallah, there was a wisdom behind this. That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saved the child and saved the parents of the child and saved this whole community. We have stories like this in the Quran Kareem. We know in okay, all right, thank you, I will, inshallah. Anyhow, we know the story of Sayyidina Khidr alayhi salam, that he had killed that boy.
Give them 15 minutes and then afterwards, if they want to talk, we can talk more.
Okay.
They have time.
Anyhow, brother, what I'm asking is that first of all, before anything else, I'm here. I would like to ask sister, and all the sisters here, and a few brothers that who has come together to put such a beautiful program together. I'm sorry, sister. Such a beautiful program together. We are working together, inshallah, to bring these wonderful children together who needs more than anything else love. Who needs more than anything else a blessing. I have a sister and I have a family.
It's not fair. They have to have a chance to speak.
Who?
They are going to ask questions and have a discussion for a few minutes.
Anyhow,
Jazakallah khair.
sisters, I'm grateful to everybody. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you.
Thank you.
Everything has to go through a political system and to a way that we brother organize it.
Jazakallah
So my speech is ending.
Jazakallah khair.
Anyhow, life is beautiful. If you know somebody who has a problem, please bring them here. If you know somebody who is in need of him, please, you can come in yourself and join us. Give your hand of blessing to these children. They all love you, inshallah. Thank you.
Thank you so much, brother. Jazakumullah khair to the panel again. I really appreciate all of your insights. SubhanAllah, as I was hearing this, two things came to my mind. One was about the challenges that families face in having their children be involved in the community. And there's a story from Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu that I wanted to share to show us kind of what is the gold standard and where we need to get to. There was a blind man in the community at his time, and he was a young man, and he lived a little bit too far from the masjid to get there by himself easily. So he told his father that, "Father, I'm living too far from the masjid, I cannot get there." So the father went to Umar bin Khattab radiallahu anhu and said, "Ya Amir al-Mu'mineen, oh our our ruler, my son lives too far from the masjid, he's blind, he cannot get there. What did Umar do? Umar gave him the home that was close to the masjid so he could live next to the masjid and come and do his salawat. So we have a precedent in Islam for making our communities inclusive. And just subhanAllah, another really interesting tidbit. After the khutbah today, I went down the street to the corner, and I always go to the same barber as a Muslim brother in our community who's deaf. And he's an incredible good barber. And I asked him, I said, did you go to Jum'ah? And he always comes. He says, yes, I went to the first khutbah. And I says, oh, you didn't come and greet me. He says, oh, I was sitting outside, I didn't see you. He goes, I sit outside every week and I never get to hear one word of the khutbah. And it really struck me, subhanAllah, that we have dedicated Muslims in the community who come every single week. In this brother's case, and he never had the chance to hear one word. We're very blessed today to have Sister Beth do sign language for us, but it shows us that we need to have these type of services. Whether it be access to Braille, whether it be better facilities to have entrances that will accommodate for those with wheelchairs, whether it be having interpreters. So inshallah, I want to give the community about 10 minutes, inshallah, before we end, to ask questions to the panelists about either about their children or about maybe how you can get involved in supporting their families. Jazakumullah khair wa salamu alaikum. So, yes, sister. Let me give you the microphone. Let me give you
Resources, the availability of resources for these children. Where are they? I mean, if you can tell us, and how can we get them?
So the question has to do with what are the resources that are available, or how can we find resources for these children? So if anyone wants to take it.
I have a brief, summarize it, for people with disabilities, families who have children with disability. First of all, as soon as they find out that they have a child with disability or special needs, they have to educate themselves so they will be able to advocate for their children. First, they have to deal with the anxiety both sides, the parents and the children. They have to build a system of communication with their children and with the family. First, how to talk to the child, because every child, actually a typical child is different from another child. Special needs, they are totally different. And also, how to communicate between each other and the family, not to insult that afflicted child, not to feel them pity, or not to exclude them from the communication in the family. Also, they have to provide visual support for the child. Some children, like my own daughter, the only way she understands is when you provide visual cues, visual clues to her. If you talk to her, she wouldn't understand it. Also, we should develop some kind of system how to help our special need child. There should be a system, and we follow that system. And also, we have to know the system in the community, how to use that system in the community, services available in the community at their maximum to benefit and support our children. Another issue that most family is with educators, with the school system. We have to partner with them. They are not perfect. Okay, they are not perfect, but we could work with them and make that whatever they offer for our children work for our children. Also, from the very beginning, we have to teach our children life skills, trades or hobbies. Also, we have to, from very young age, we have to know how they're going to be living their future life. Regardless of the parent's age or the child's age, we have to start it early. As Muslim, we believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala supporting these children. Yes, and also as a Muslim, we have obligation toward our children that we have to arrange for their future, for their lives after we are not there around them. We have to arrange for that in the early ages. And most important of all, from my own experience, we have to start networking with other families with special needs children. This way, we will receive moral support for our own family. We can find other families or other parents who could understand my child as much as I know my child. When I'm not around, they could advocate for my children. Also, to find friends within their own abilities and the community for our children. And another aspect of networking with the special community is to find support for the siblings of our children. So when my daughter sees this young woman, she gets kind of peace in her heart that she is not the only one who has a sister or a sibling with special needs. And they could get along and they will understand each other and be a good support for each other as well. Salam.
I also just wanted to add, alhamdulillah, here in Orange County, we have a lot of services, and a lot of companies that are offering different therapies that a child with special needs may need. So the first thing is after you go and you get a diagnosis, for example, the doctor that usually diagnoses will recommend a certain amount of services, and after that you can do your research and look up different behavioral therapy, occupational therapy, music therapy, whatever that your child needs. And thankfully, again, here in Orange County, we have a lot of services. So I'd be more than happy to talk to you more about that afterwards as well, inshallah.
Okay, so inshallah we'll have time for one more question. I think one thing I'd like to address is there's a general need that families have, but there's a specific need within the Islamic community. So I want to address that. Often what happens is that families who want their kids to get access to the Quran programs or Sunday schools, once the school, if they check off their kid has a disability, oftentimes the school says they cannot support them. So I think this puts now a responsibility on the community to say, look, how can I volunteer my time maybe to be a one-on-one aid for a kid who has a special need? Maybe he has behavioral problems, so I need to be there to support him, to provide those visual cues, so on and so forth. So I think that we need to take some responsibility on ourselves, if we have the time, to say how can we support their development. And inshallah, again, there's a whole committee in this masjid that right as we close, they'll get a chance to speak about who they are, and you can get in touch with them if you would like to volunteer your time. So inshallah, we'll have time for one more question, and then we'll want to wrap it up by 9 o'clock. So, Rhonda?
Jazakallah khair, yes. Well, the first thing that struck me when I came to this masjid was that there wasn't an elevator. But the other thing is just to be more welcoming. It was very difficult to come in. I hadn't come to the masjid for about 10 years after I had my daughter, and my other daughter also was diagnosed with autism. And when we would come in, if the children would make noise or would run around or just do things that aren't appropriate for the masjid, I felt like I couldn't come in. People would look at me or look at the children, or they would say something, and it's obvious that, you know, the child has something, you know, going on. And subhanAllah, I felt, I'm not going to do this to everybody else. And so I didn't come to the masjid for about 10 years. And it was very difficult at that time, subhanAllah, to be so close. And later on, when I decided they deserve to come to the masjid too, you know, we just come little by little, I felt like if I can show people how to be more welcoming, you know, if I see someone come in case they need to have the door held open, or you know, I see a child, you know, doing something, you just have mercy on them. You give someone 70 excuses. You don't know what's happening. You can see, you know, subhanAllah, for Hana, and for some other children that they might have some type of a diagnosis, but for some other children you don't know, but whether they're child or adult, it doesn't matter. You know, it would be nice just to feel welcome, have a smile, give the person 70 excuses, and just make them feel welcome.
We need to end it quickly, so
I just kind of want to add, today shouldn't be the last day you bring your child to the masjid. There's going to always be people who have those stigmas still in their minds, the auntie or uncle shushing the kids in the back. But there's always another person saying, I hope you come back. Or, yeah, Hamza he's unpredictable. You don't know what he's going to do. And you don't know what somebody else is going to say or do to him. So you have to constantly keep an eye on him. But that always, for every bad situation, there was a good situation too. Camp Izza next door took him in and let him attend their camp. And maybe even non-Muslim camps wouldn't have done that because they just don't have the accommodations for it. Islamic schools don't have the accommodations for kids with special needs. And I know my parents would have loved to have sent Hamza to an Islamic school. So it is definitely something that we would love to have, inshallah. Yeah.
So I think what everyone is trying to say, you can give a round of applause, that's fine. Okay. The consensus that we've gotten through the networking is that the biggest impediment that the families face is not facilities, it's not having a ramp, right? It's very, very blunt. It is the lack of compassion of community members. And so I think we need to internalize it very deeply. And so I'm sure those who have come here today are at a higher level of compassion and empathy, but it's also our responsibility to teach other people. So if you see somebody who's mistreating or who's not showing compassion to somebody, step in and make a statement. The same way if someone was being racist against somebody, it would be part of Islam's, our moral character to step in and say, don't treat that person that way. The same way if you see a child who has autism being disrespected or their parents being chastised, step in and tell that family, look, take it easy, chill out. Like we're a community, right, that we love each other, we care for each other, and we want to welcome everybody. And this is not a private sanctuary for me, that everyone has to stay quiet so that I can have, pin drop silence so I can have khushu'ah in my salah. Right? It's a place that we all come. We come with whatever it is that, whatever difficulties we have in life, right? However our kids are, and inshallah we embrace everybody like that. So please just open your hearts to any of the difficulties that people have, and be a champion to speak out if there's an injustice that you see. So the last comment, I know everyone, we're over time, is that we don't want this to be a one-time program. So there are papers up here. Please come and write your name on here. We want to start networking for those families who are here in Irvine and in broader Orange County, those who have children or family members with a special need, and those who just want to volunteer. Please write your name on that, give us your email, and inshallah we'll try to have more programs like this to see how we can better accommodate our schools, our masajid, our khutbahs, and other programs, for all of our community members. And I'd like to quickly request, before we close, Dr. Randa Sarag. She is one of the board members here and one of the people instrumental in putting this program together, to speak a little bit about the committee and how you can get involved.
Jazakallah khair. So first and foremost, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart, Jazakallah khairan, to all of our panelists. It takes a lot of courage to come up here and share your experience and your family's experience and struggles and blessings. So may Allah bless you and your families for educating us and sharing that with us. We're very indebted to you tonight, so thank you so much. And also a very heartfelt thank you to Sheikh Osman for facilitating this discussion and giving the khutbah earlier today, which I think was very eye-opening and touching to many of us. So Jazakumullah khair, may Allah bless you and your family as well. So we do have a dessert buffet on the patio, so you're welcome to join us. It's free, and there's also tea and coffee. And I just want to mention that the coffee is provided by Able Coffee Roasters, who is an Orange County-based project that aims to create paying jobs for individuals with autism and other disabilities while roasting fresh, organic, fair trade beans from farmers across the globe. So they have provided coffee for us, and I believe they have some of their employees with them here tonight. to share their experience with you as well. So please join us on the patio. And as Sheikh Osman said, we do have a sign-up sheet. We see a lot of new faces in the community here. We're so happy to see you. If you would like to join the Special Needs Committee, which is really a relatively new committee here at ICOI, please come and sign up, write your name and email address on this sheet, and we will include you. This is just the beginning. We're just starting out, and we have a lot more planned, inshallah, as we grow and develop. So please join us in this process. Jazakumullah khairan. Assalamu alaikum.
And again, for those who would like to volunteer, even if you don't know anything about special education or how to support children, the families here and many of the therapists are willing to provide that training to you. So if you don't know how you could help out but you just have the time, please sign up, and inshallah our professionals will help you gain the skills to support the children. Jazakallah khair.